Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spirit Sessions of View of the Light. We are glad to have you here and have you as part of our family. And so I'm lighting a little smudge. Let's start the day off with some smudge and letting go of everything that needs to be released. Today we have an exciting show, and I want to tell you, have you been feeling that anxiety overnight lately? Has that been hitting you and you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, I'm all alone and going crazy? Well, guess what? We are going to talk about that today. So please like, share, subscribe, call your friends, tell them we're having fun today. And we will be hearing from Katie Steinle bringing us the spring report, spring equinox report. I knew it was more like that. And first, I'm going to throw it to my wonderful, wonderful co-host Rhonda for the starting of the card of the week. What is going on for us, Rhonda?
Okay, I pulled from Kyle Grace, my hero, his 22 Archangel Oracle deck. So I said, what Archangel is looking after us this week? What's the theme of the week for the Archangel? And it was Gabrielle, and it's divine emergent. It's time to be seen. Don't be afraid of your power or your gifts, which again speaks to the anxiety. Don't be afraid to show yourself. Don't be afraid to get out there and be who you are, because it's all in our mind, this anxiety. We're future casting of what all could go wrong, and it's all in our imagination. It's not what's real. Don't be afraid of our gifts. Show our power. Show up and manifest your best future ever. So that's the card that I have. So I'd like to introduce our roving reporter.
Yes.
Our roving cosmic weather person, Katie Steinle, who probably has another card for us, but she also has the report. And Katie, just give us a quick introduction to who you are and what you do, besides being our roving cosmic weather reporter out there in the cosmos, and giving us what's going on energetically wise for this month, this part of the year. Thank you for coming.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I come on maybe about 4 times a year, at the big celestial events like the equinox that we're in the midst of right now, and just help, everybody understand and anchor in as above, so below. And we're realizing as within, so without. So, when we can understand what's happening and know that everything we're experiencing is right on time, we are in the flow. It's a free will choice, I should say, whether we decide to be in the flow, right? Or fight it and resist it and hold on to, what no longer serves us. And that can bring up some of the things like anxiety and whatnot. But just know, like, Therese, I'm so glad that you touched on that, because, and I'm going to talk about it as I always do with the energy. Think in terms of this hour, we're going to be just talking about things in terms of like vibration and frequency, but we're receiving so much new energy and light and consciousness and, all things with this pure potential, but we're still human, and our bodies are, they have limitations, and our nervous systems get easily maxed out when we're in this metamorphic kind of stage that we've been in, and we are going to continue to be in. And so it's so helpful when we come together like we're doing today, and we just talk about it, and we share, and we become vulnerable, and we ask questions, and we try to understand, because it just helps you feel like, okay, this is not just me, like this is just a part of the process, and I just need to embrace it. Nancy, hey, hello. Thank you so much, Nancy, for joining us. And Nancy is also a great astrologer. And so feel free, Nancy, if you have anything to add or any comments, at any time, just pop in. But yes, I'm Katie Steinle. My company is Discover Your Design. I am an internationally certified human design analyst, and also offer astrology sessions. And I work with quantum biofeedback, which is all about using frequency to help center and harmonize your physical space, your emotional space, mental space. It's the auric field, right, that you're existing in your energetic space. Jen made it. Oh, all my friends are coming on. I love it. It's so good to see you, Jen. I love you, beautiful woman. So yeah, let's get down to it. Okay. Yeah. Have things been a little intense? Have they been a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? I mean, oh my God. I think March got to be one of the months of the record books. It's like so much energy and change and shifts and activations all packed in and condensed into like this month. Not to say that this year, if anybody follows me or has heard me come on, I think I came December probably for the solstice of the new year. 2025, as we're all figuring out real quick, it's one for the record books. This is from an astrological point when we're looking at the cycles of the cosmos, because we are just a microcosm of the macrocosm, so that's why it's helpful, like Teresa and I were just saying, to kind of understand, oh, okay, these are the, themes and the energies that we're moving through right now. Because just know that not only are you receiving all of this new information, this new light, this new consciousness that's coming online, but you are also transmitting, I mean, there's a thing called neutrinos, the neutrino field. Neutrinos are smaller than atoms. They're the tiniest particle. They move through matter. And so, everything has a degree of consciousness to it, a degree of creator energy. And so it's kind of like when you think of two cars that kind of bump into each other and they each go away with a little bit of the paint color of the other car, right? So not only are you taking in this energy, but we have to really become consciously aware of, how we are using our energy, how we're putting ourselves out into the world, because trust and believe the butterfly effect is real. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's like, they say, like, if a butterfly, on the west coast of the US flaps its wings, that triggers this impact that, across the world, another butterfly will be motivated to do the same. And that's the same with our energy. It moves through us and we imprint it, and it continues to move around. So this is our opportunity to really get real and really get clear. And that's why this energy is just feeling so intense. It's meant to. This is a disruptor year. Make no mistake. I'm sure anybody that's watching, the news and just, let it run. I could not have said that better myself. Exactly. But when we can understand that this is part of the process, the unfolding, we learn not to react and get over emotional and attached to these outcomes. And then we get, rigid, and we, stick our feet in the ground and we're like, no, no, I don't want this change to happen. But sometimes, in the midst of change, this is where we can consciously, when we start to work with energy, anchor in a potential of what we want to make it even better, to understand that sometimes change and shifts are necessary. And, we outgrow the structures and the systems. And so at certain points in time, they have to start, breaking down in order for, new, better ways of doing things to be established. And cue the window that we're in right now, because, we've got, if anybody has been following energy or, just probably hard not to hear about it these days, but we are in this beautiful eclipse energy. And this is very unusual. This is a very unusual year. We have all of the outer planets moving and shifting into new signs, into new energy, moving from like water to air, like think of, wildfire, just consciousness, AI and everything just taking off and expanding. And so it's gonna shake things up. It definitely is going to feel intense. And like Teresa said, you're going to have physical issues, and, maybe you can't sleep. Maybe all you want to do is sleep, just depends on how your body's taking this in. But we had, in March 14th, we had a lunar eclipse, and we now are in this window, a 2-week window. And this is how it happens for eclipse. I call it eclipse season. Twice a year, we go through these eclipse energies. And when you think about it, I mean, it literally, think about what an eclipse does, is it kind of pauses for this little hyper moment in time. It creates this 0 point, of stillness, where you've got, like, our main sources of light and energy crossing over. And they've even found, when they look in nature, that, everything kind of, like, even animals will have this pause to it. Like, we all kind of know, whoa, that's interesting. Like, I feel like I'm in this little portal. And it's meant to be. Eclipses are when you actually have, like, back in ancient times, like when you go into history, you wonder why all of our ancestors would do, they'd have very intentional events and festivities around these events, these cycles and shifts in time, because they understood the magnitude of it. And now that we have modern science, we can see that when we go through something like an eclipse, it actually just temporarily lowers the magnetic field around the earth, and it creates these cracks, in the field. And so think about what that does from just pure frequency and energy. It lets all of this light and consciousness and, plasma, pure potential creator energy in, that we normally wouldn't necessarily have access to. And so our ancestors knew about this, and purposely stopped what they were doing, and held sacred time and space around these events to be able to harness, because they understood that during these powerful windows, you have these cracks, right, in the, the protective layer of the earth. You have way more access to, guidance, right? To be able to tap into other dimensions, right? And get information, and, really be able to use that in a powerful way. And so we're normally, have eclipses 2 weeks apart. Oh, Melinda's always got such profound, she's so tuned in. Yes, that surrender to feel it all. Thank you for bringing that up, Melinda. That's big time Pisces energy. And I should have put up a chart just so you guys can see, like, how many planets, like, I swear to God, like 90% of the planets right now are all in Pisces. And a lot of the energy is at that final degree of Pisces, which is literally the last degree of the zodiac system. And we are moving in what signifies the spring equinox is, yes, we say New Year starts on January 1st, but you wonder why nobody can, like, maintain and achieve their New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, Teresa's like, yeah, I get it. Cause it's like, it's not energetically really truly the new year. So you're trying to put all this new change into effect, and you're really almost at the end of, from, just an energetic perspective, you're at the end of the season. So the equinox happens when we hit 0 degrees of Aries in the sky, right? And that is the new astrological year. And that's why, like I said, historically, that's when people in a lot of cultures would truly start, their new year and their new intentions. So I'm sure that's a big relief to hear, because I'm sure everybody probably wants to close out, the last year. It's been kind of just, a lot. And so it's reassuring, hopefully, for you to go, oh, wow, okay, this is great. Okay, so I get another do-over, even more so than January 1. But what's really fascinating about this, year is normally it's not typical to have the equinox, that 0 degrees, that reset point happening directly between our eclipses. We had the lunar eclipse on March 14th, and we're having our solar eclipse on March 29th. So exactly 1 week between that, we hit the 0 point, the still point. I mean, you have to start to really realize that all of this is divinely orchestrated. It can't be that perfect, right? Like, I mean, how does that happen? And while we're talking about the 0 point, why don't we all just like take a nice big exhale and just let it all go, right? Just like really come here and be present right here, right now. And now just really pause, feel that 0 point, that stillness, the world, the space in between worlds, and take a nice deep inhale. And then hold it at the top. And you can feel within your own being, on that microcosm level, how potent that balance between the exhale and the inhale, right? Between receiving and intentionally transmitting and giving your energy out is, and how powerful you are as a creator, that you can harness what we're talking about on this universal level with your own breath. So we're moving all of those planets that I mentioned that are in Pisces. So right now, Pisces is the dreamer. Your dreams could be very heightened. Teresa's nodding her head. Very potent. Pisces, it's our intuition, right? It's the unseen. It's confusion. It's the fog. So I think a lot of us are in this like space of like, I don't even know which way is up and which way is down right now. Like I don't know what to believe. What half of what you can see on the internet now, is it AI? Is it somebody just having, a joke or trying to, manipulate, what you take in? Or is it true? Is it reality? We're really being called to question all of it as we cross this threshold and we just did, the equinox was just this week, but we're in this window of crossing over that 0 point, right? Letting all the trauma, the conditioning that we've been really, like Teresa said, with her nervous system, really being called to look at and to make space for this new way of being, this new human that is coming online. And we're literally at this door, think of it. I always think of it as like, you're at the threshold, crossing over, opening a door to, a new reality. Because every time eclipses occur, they occur twice a year. These are fated points in time. Like I said, very divinely orchestrated. And they will take you and they will usually close out. Hi, Farron. Thanks for joining us. They'll usually close out some aspect of your life, like you'll notice maybe relationships that were just kind of, teetering on the edge, fall away, or, like, or another door opens, right? It's meant to, it can feel very confusing, chaotic, because it is this like window of, once things pause in an eclipse and then everything, starts whirling again, it's never the same, right? Just like you realized with your breath. Like, thank you, Melinda. Yeah, exactly. We're realizing with our breath, we can really work with that and understand the energy. And so you, can feel, like, oh my gosh, what's happening? But now that we're talking about it, and Teresa and Rhonda, please share, like, if there's anything in your life that now that you've got awareness around it, like you've noticed, like, oh, wow, yeah, that's interesting. Because I've just realized there's a change here in my life. But we can, instead of holding on and clinging to that, we can go, okay, well then what's going to open up? Like this eclipse we just had was South Node. So that means there was definitely this urge to let go, to release something in your life maybe is dropping off that no longer serves you. Were you going to say something, Rhonda?
I was going to say, you were talking about AI and the way we have to really sit there and look. And I think we have to now more than ever, maybe it's highlighting that point that we have to use our discernment, our own personal gut reactions, and trust our gut, not only for if it's AI or not, if it's true or not, because we've got a lot of talking heads now from everywhere telling us stuff that changes next day and the next day.
Yep.
So we got to stop and think, is any of this really real, or why are they doing this? What's behind the kind of the curtain? What's their overall thing? We have to, I think, use our discernment and our guts and decide that it's all meant to create anxiety and confusion and something else. So we don't really use our discernment. We just go, oh, and then we flit around like a bunch of chickadees on a branch or something, and just don't even really ground into the earth and figure out what we really need to do, and what's real and what's not, and get away from our heart. I guess that's all I wanted to say.
Oh gosh, yeah. Thank you so much, because that's so spot on, which is exactly where we're at, moving. And that's why this is feeling so powerful, and it is so divinely orchestrated that we've got this perfect 0 point as we're crossing this threshold into a reset. Aries energy is initiating. It is that warrior, take action, don't hold back. So we need to be very clear when we are moving into that energy and stepping out of Pisces, which is victim. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for joining, which is victim energy, right? Which is, it's all happening to me and I'm going to react to it. And oh my gosh, this is happening. And oh my gosh, that's happening. And I have so many friends that have really been really struggling with all of the changes and the shifts. And I keep saying, you know what, instead of reacting immediately and really letting it ruin your entire day and really, starting to think, you start to spin out, we all do, then just wait 24 hours because it's probably going to change, like Rhonda said. And that's what we're finding is we are just in this, roller coaster, topsy-turvy time. So thank you, Rhonda, because I think that's so important. Aries is being your own sovereign, you're the boss of you kind of energy. And so you've really got to take all that beautiful, intuitive, heightened awareness that Pisces has been pointing out for us and activating in you, and really get in tune what's my intuition telling me, and where is that in my body? And if you don't know, if you're just getting into energy and understanding, we're coming online in a big way, right? Extrasensory perception and all the things are really being activated. We literally are changing as a species. And more of this is coming online as we become more conscious and more aware. And if you don't know, please come see me. You can just go to my website and book a human design session, because that's what we'll do, is we'll really help you really come online with that, so you can start trusting yourself. Because I can't tell you, and you guys, most of the people that are watching the show are actively awake and aware and probably already tuned into their intuition. But how many times, think about it, just think in the last month or whatever, how many times where you've been told, like what Rhonda's saying, you've seen something outside, or somebody said something to you, or, your mind's told you, you need to do this, or that, but you've had a little whisper in your body somewhere that's like, no, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel true. And the more you can create space, which is what this last eclipse is really pushing us to do, this final purge, get rid of it. You don't need to hold on to the trauma and the wounding. It's not where you're going. Make space so that when you do cross this threshold that we're crossing now, not only with the equinox and the eclipses, we are literally crossing that threshold into the age of Aquarius, which is a big deal. These are hundreds of years cycles, right? I mean, these are not things that, they're, it's like when you're in the grocery store and you're just shopping and you don't even really pay attention, but there's always the cheesy grocery store music on in the background, right? And, you don't really realize that it's influencing you. You're not really paying attention. But then all of a sudden, if it flips to like Christmas music or something, you're like, oh, and it changes you. It changes kind of what your focus is. You're like, oh yeah, it's holidays now. I should start thinking about that. Think about that in terms of, these bigger global cycles that we speak of. They just tune your frequency, to something a little bit different. And so we are really stepping into a point where we can't go back. No matter how much you look back and go, oh gosh, the old glory days, it used to be so good, right? I want that again. That we're not going that way. So the more that we, move forward into this new way of being, the more we do have to, especially anybody that is taking the time to, tune in today to really become more aware and awake. We need to take that responsibility, like what Rhonda's saying, to really anchor in the pure potential that we're working with when we're talking about, it's 0 degrees Aries. It's literally pure creator energy, like untouched, fresh, and it's like being offered to you on a silver platter. Then it's up to you. What do you want to do with that? You can stay in the ways that you think, are working, but are they really, really, I think that's what we're all being asked to. Oh, thank you so much, Nancy. I just saw that. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's, I'm not just tooting my own horn because, a lot of this stuff I just get channeled through me, for whoever I'm with, but the tools, whether it's human design or astrology, or we're going to do some quantum biofeedback and Qigong. So Rhonda and Teresa, don't let me talk too long so we can fit that in. But you've got to have tools because like Teresa said, we're all going through it physically, emotionally, mentally. And if you don't have some of these tools, whatever it is for you, you can struggle, you can feel lost and, like the ground has been pulled out from underneath you because it has. we're in this window, especially right now, that we're moving through. So, okay, let's just talk a little bit. Yes, Melinda, exactly. And we're going to do some work too to integrate today that pure potential so we can really calibrate and leave our time today, anchoring in a higher, way of being than we started at the beginning of at the top of the hour with. So, okay, we talked about the eclipse. We talked about the equinox. We also, to Rhonda's point, she was saying, things are changing. It's very chaotic right now. We have Mars, which is the ruler of Aries. Mars it's called out of bounds. It's out of bounds right now. And, it's kind of exactly what it means. It just means it's kind of out of its usual, gravitational pull. And what that does energetically, since Mars is action and it's, that warrior and it's like, yeah, I want it all. I'm going to, take what's mine kind of thing. You can see how that's playing out, in a lot of ways right now in the world, that kind of energy. And so just be aware, that is just, you might even find that within your own self. Be aware. You might be quick to react. You might, have to really, take those extra breaths and pause and not get super frustrated and not get spontaneous with your decisions. Because we have so much happening energetically. I can't stress it enough, especially, like I said, March in particular is just really, really going to feel intense and chaotic. We've got Mars out of bounds. We've got Mercury and Venus. Mercury's our mind. Venus is our heart. They're in retrograde. And that means what it just means is if you looked at the planets in the sky, it looks like they go through these cycles where they move backwards. And what that does for us, when you think in terms of how does that affect me, your mind and your heart, we're in this space where you're really being called to go inward and reflect. and evaluate your heart, your relationships, what's important to you, what do you value, what do you want to become? When Melinda so beautifully said, we're working with this pure potential. So you're in this window, and I can't stress, when you become sovereign, like what Rhonda said, and you, instead of just being hammered with the waves, go, wait a minute, wait, I got this energy to work with. I got that energy. Okay. So you have this inward reflection, right, of really getting clear on what you want to become. So as you cross over into Aries, and kind of interesting, because we're working with the last degree of the zodiac. You've got Neptune, 29 degrees, last degree of Pisces, and then all this cluster of planets around it. And then, we've got this 0 point of Aries. And all of these planets, Mercury, Venus, they're crossing back and forth over that 0 point. They're going to cross 3 times. So you've got all of this ending, let go, step into what you just made space for. Endings, let go, step into. Yeah, Teresa. So it's this extremely potent, powerful energy. And I just really want to drive it home so that you really start thinking about this, because you typically, it's not typical to have, this amount of like retrograde energy, at the same time we've got the eclipses and the equinox and everything going on. So the universe is really speaking loudly to us. Because the lunar eclipse, if you want to think of that as like a full moon on steroids,
Yes.
and full moons are release points, right? And then think of the March 29th eclipse that we've got this week, the solar eclipse. Think of that as a new moon on steroids. So, this is like the time of any point in the year for you to really reset and really get clear on trusting and knowing that what doors are closing and opening are fated and it's destiny. And the more you can go with that flow, Venus is all about finding your flow. And when Venus goes retrograde, it can cause shakeups in your relationships. It can cause, it might not be the best time to enter into a new relationship, because it is truly really getting you clear on what is important to you. And you can't really enter into a relationship well when you're unclear, because we all know the law of attraction, like your outside world is a reflection of what's happening.
So should we use that retrograde in Venus and Neptune to reflect on what didn't work out in the past or what did work out, and to use it for the forward?
Yes.
In relationships, maybe it's dragging us back, saying we're repeating that same pattern, we're repeating that same pattern, or this is different than the last time. So maybe.
Yes, thank you, Ron. That's exactly it. Like, don't be surprised. This is the time when you have Venus in retrograde, like a past lover calls you or texts you out of the blue, right? And like all of these things. So look at retrogrades. Everybody has this like thing about Mercury retrograde. Oh my God, the sky's falling. It's Mercury retrograde. But really, it's giving you this opportunity to go back. And like some of these things that maybe, mentally were left hanging or you didn't get completion or closure on, really embrace these times, and I'm always like grateful. I'm like, thank you. Because Lauren said, you can kind of really get clear and really, if you are closing things out, you feel good. Like, okay, I had time and space to really consciously realize that happened for my highest and best good, like I need to just let it go. So gosh, you're on point, on fire today, Rhonda. Drop in and just keep when you.
I'm using my listening ears today. So
what's it saying? God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
I'm trying not to speak. Yeah.
Yep. I used to hear that a lot. Okay, so I just want to point out a couple more things before we move over to doing some integration work. Okay, big thing. So we've got Neptune. That I said it has been hanging out for a while at this last degree of the zodiac, 29 degrees Pisces, which is really intensely, opening up the veil of, the other dimensions and spirituality and confusion and fogginess and all the things. Neptune is an outer planet. It affects all of us. It's that background frequency, like I mentioned when you're at the grocery store. That is moving signs into Aries, another planet crossing over that threshold of the 0 degree point. And that is happening, let's see, March. Well, okay, so we've got Neptune moving into Aries, March 30th. My God, we've got the eclipse happening on the 29th. Oh, Melinda, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. That means so much to me, because especially coming from you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've got a lot of Virgo. Have you noticed? So yeah, I definitely am all caught up in the details. So thank you. That means a lot. Okay, so we've got Neptune crossing into Aries. This is a big deal. The last time that we had Neptune in this sign was 165 years ago, guys.
Right,
So
yeah.
that tells you how big of a deal it is when I say all these outer planets that are shifting into new energy. I mean, these are things that don't happen, every month or once a year. They happen, decades. And so we're going to be moving into this new energy of Neptune and Aries. It's interesting. The last time that we had Neptune move into Aries, at least in the U.S., was like 1861. That was when we had the Civil War. So again, it's when you're dealing with Aries energy, it is very, it can be very warrior-like. But think about what that is going to do for you, also as a collective, right? We're moving into a new paradigm of exactly what Rhonda said, of taking our sovereignty and our discernment back and really tapping into, now Neptune will be in our first house, in our physical being. Our intuition will be heightened, and we're learning to be able to trust ourselves more and to move on our own path. That's an Aquarian. We don't have to fit in with society, and everybody that's an accountant has to dress like an accountant and talk like an accountant. Rhonda's doing a happy dance. Now you get to let your freak flag fly, right? And it's like you get to trust and be your authentic self and just be real. And if your gut's telling you this doesn't feel right, honor that, because what might not feel right for you could be perfectly fine for the person next to you. So stop looking to other people, to solve your problems and really like take your power back. Aries is all about taking your power back. So that's pretty important. And then we've got this week too, March 27th through the 29th, Venus, Mercury, and Neptune, all at that last degree of the zodiac. So don't be surprised. Again, as this is the 0 degree of Aries it's a public kind of energy. It's a worldwide reset, new energy.
Yes.
So that amount of intense focus, I would not be surprised if something big, plays out in the world, in this week or, early into next week, just on a public, level of the Venus is, the flow of things, right? It could be, financial markets. It could be, again, just like that Mars, kind of energy and thinking and, just want to put that out there. So just breathe, stay calm. And like Rhonda said, it too shall pass. And, this all just is, we're just moving with the river. We're just being in the flow. And what we are doing, we are taking advantage of this energy and this potent focus. And we are anchoring in what we want to see as the change, as the new earth, whatever you want to call it, as a new way of us being human. We want to become the role models of being non-reactionary, of sitting in the back seat of the Uber and being the observer and watching the game play out. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're in. We're in a game, we're in a dream, right? Life is eternal. That is that consciousness in us that never dies. Einstein said, he proved it. Energy never dies. It merely changes form. And that's what he's talking about. So once we can let go of that fear of death and like, I only have this short window of time to, create all this pressure, you just relax and you start to move with your higher self that's got your destiny and your trajectory all mapped out. And it's like, Katie, can you just listen? Can you just stop trying to do it yourself and get out of the way and let me help you? And that's what your intuition is. It's that little GPS within you that's like, go this way. Okay, I'm going to listen today. Then you go that way and you meet somebody and they give you this amazing opportunity. And it's just when you start living by the signs of the universe and communicating with your higher self, magic, pure magic. So, okay, one more thing I wanted to point out too is because this is a biggie. So, all this is kind of happening in preparation for uh, Saturn and Neptune are going to come into a conjunction together. It's not going to officially happen until February of 2026, but all of this is, again, it's the chess pieces moving and helping us get ready for this big, big shift. That is really going to be interesting because, again, these are things that just do not happen, very often. And so when you think about it, Neptune, what I've just been talking about, Neptune is the formless, right? Neptune is just pure consciousness. It's that pure unity, love, and acceptance. Like Sarah, we can talk privately, but the first thing you can do to start to become more aware of that is to kind of clear out. You got to clear out space because our mind, what do they say? You guys probably know. It's like our mind has like 100,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of them are like repetitive, and they're negative. They're just our self-talk.
Yeah.
A little voice in your head that's like, you're not good enough, or, oh gosh, the neighbor, they looked at me funny today. Gosh, I must have done something wrong. And think about how much time and space that takes up. And so when you can do things to kind of just listen to some, soft meditative music, right? Do some of that slow breathing and really becoming aware, like, what am I thinking about? What is taking up a lot of space in my being? Teresa, you might be a great one to speak to that. Do you have any little tips or tools that you use to really get quiet and clear?
Oh, well, yeah. It depends on the situation and everything in hand. But I always like the mind heart coherence. I like to jump into that and into the breathing because usually I think the induction usually like 3 minutes really to do that. But then by the time you're at the end of it, you're back to yourself. You're back in the seat where you can make the decisions or decide what to do next. Another thing I like to do is EFT tapping, which I do every morning, but sometimes I like to do that when there's big time emergencies. Last night, what I had to do was I started some of the breathing and to keep that down, I took care of myself first, and then I came back, and then when I was ready, I did the neatest Reiki session, Rhonda. I did the neatest self Reiki on myself. And it's like, boom. Oh my God. I came out of that. Like my toes were tickling. It was good.
That's beautiful. And just explaining for anybody that maybe hasn't heard of Reiki before, it's just you basically just reflected love back to yourself and you received that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And look at the smile on Teresa's face. Like, so Sarah, it's always these simple things. I think we try to overcomplicate things so much, and sometimes it is just going, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm safe. Okay. I'm grounded. Or if I'm not, I'm going to just look at my feet and feel the earth below, right? And just pause. Just like the equinox, we have to learn from Mother Nature. When we have these things like these eclipses and these equinoxes, that's all that the universe is doing, is just pausing and like, let me just take an out breath. Okay. So thank you, Sarah. That was a really good question. And Teresa, I love the suggestions.
I want to tell you how I fell into the panic attack, because I think that speaks exactly to what you're talking about. I woke up at 12:34. I'm thinking, oh, 1, 2, 3,
Oh
4.
my
I'm in alignment. This is good news. So I go to the bathroom and I come back to my room, and then I'm like, oh man, I forgot to take my medicine tonight. It's like, oh man, the pharmacy didn't have it. Now I need to make an appointment. Oh man, when am I going to have time for? And you see, that quick from going from, oh look, 12:34 to like, oh my God, how can I take care of myself? And so I had to wait. 12:34. Cry and cry. So it's like it was still strong. Okay, I still had to get sick and I still had to do that. But the whole time I held this view as well. And notice one of these views is more truer than the other. And it's my decision that makes what I want more true. So that's how I
Yes,
do it.
that's beautiful. Thank you, because I think that's just so helpful and tangible for so many people, you sharing that, because I think we're all experiencing that, just how quickly we're spinning out
Yeah.
into like a worst case scenario. And then 24 hours later, that scenario is not even, it's like, that's old news, right? Like this is the energy we're in. It's like I said, it's air. It's things are just going to be shifting and changing. And so, this is all getting us comfortable with the unknown, because like I said, when we look at that, what's happening, that we're in the midst of that Saturn Neptune conjunction. Saturn, like I said, Neptune's consciousness. Saturn is the form. It's us. It's our, our humanity. When that happens, that's a big deal, because that is really giving you an idea that we are probably going through this like really big evolution, that we are really going to increase our bandwidth, and we are going to be finding it easier to tune into the subtler energies like our intuition and our higher selves and all the things. So that's consciousness. When you're aware of things, that's consciousness, bringing more consciousness and light. Consciousness is light. Just think in terms of that. And so we that are, already consciously aware, the more that we can anchor that in, the more that we allow everybody else that it maybe isn't yet to bring that online for them. And that's how we really create change and shifts, and we keep up with the speed of the energy that's going on, and not, instead of seeing how fast we spiral out, we see how fast, like what Teresa said, where we can like hone it back in. Yeah, exactly. And so let's just quickly do a little bit of the biofeedback work. So I know you guys love the biofeedback. I can't say enough about it. I mean, just me personally, I discovered, biofeedback. I think, I've mentioned before on the show, I tragically lost my son a few years ago, and it flattened me. Obviously, as a mother, he was everything to me and still is. And so I couldn't get out of bed, like what Teresa was just describing. And I really was in a dark place, and I really thought about going and joining him. Why stay here? And so right about that time, by the biofeedback, the frequency work came into my world. And I got to tell you guys, like, I can say firsthand from my own experience, when I couldn't function, just listening, I would just go and I would work on my emotions. And it was just enough to be able to get me to sit up, and just enough to be able to get me to take a step, right? And so this is real. It seems woo-woo because we're working with us on a vibrational level, but all the biofeedback is, the research universities are realizing that everything is vibration. Every cell in our body has its own unique vibration. And when we speak, it can provide a culmination of vibrationally where we're at, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, energetically. And so what this does is, in a session, we take your individual voice and then compare it with perfected resonances to see where you're out of balance. And then you listen to, whatever you need to listen to allow your body to come into its own homeostasis. What I've done today is I've put in 200 frequencies that are in alignment with the energies that these potent, powerful energies, like Melinda said, of pure potential. And so I want us to just, again, this is about you. You just do nothing in these 2 minutes. We'll just do 2 minutes, but just close your eyes and sit back and just reopen your heart and just receive, and let these frequencies, let yourself take them in and let them just attune you to that cosmic river, right? That we're moving in, so that things feel a little lighter and a little more harmonious, and a little more grounded and centered. So do that same. I encourage you, when you are, closing your eyes and you're just taking in these frequencies, do that still point breathing that we did, where you pause on the exhale, you pause on the inhale, and then really feel yourself taking this in and receiving. Because a lot of what we're moving into as new sovereign beings, it has to do with receiving energy, right? Instead of just being tossed around, reliant on giving your power and your energy away. It's about, no, I'm Aries energy now. I'm standing in my power. So you step back and let me do my thing. So, okay, I will be quiet now. And like I said, just focus on your breath. Nice. How did that feel?
Wow. Nice.
That was awesome. Thank you. I look forward to them. What, do we get them every week or every 2 weeks from you through the Patreon? And I look forward to listening to them. But they're 10 minutes, so I just put my headphones on and just
I bet.
go to bliss for 10 minutes. So it's great.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Rhonda. You can find it on my website, katiesteinle.com. But for the price of a cup of coffee, I mean, I keep the price point really low. It's just
I can't drink coffee anymore,
$10.
so it's easy.
Yeah. It's just, Rhonda does for $25. We do the weekly frequencies where we pick a theme, and you get to, I'll do a whole write up, and then you can have the balancing with the biofeedback, and then we do a celestial circle, which is like what we do today, but just in this really intimate space, and it's a beautiful just community building and sacred time together of growth. Wowza. Oh yeah, Nancy, she's in the circle, and she's in the weekly attunement. So you got to have tools, these are, and Jen's in there too. Yeah, here's our tribe here today. And we have fun, and that's how we get through these dynamic times. You're not going to do it alone. We need to come together, and you need to find your tribe. And lean on each other. So how are we doing on time, guys?
We're good because, yeah, no, this is fine. If we go over, that's okay this time. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just do a little bit of, we'll just do 5 minutes or so of some Qigong.
Okay.
Again, just to kind of integrate the energy. And so if you are in a place where you can stand up, by all means, go ahead. I wish I had a better view for you of my whole body, but you'll get the gist. Okay. And so it's okay though. You can do this from a seated position.
I'm doing
well.
it from seated. Yeah.
But again, let's just take a moment to feel your feet, hip width apart, feel your feet on the ground, maybe wiggle your toes, come into a place of stillness, maybe roll your shoulders back and soften your knees. And just bring your hands to your lower belly. This is the lower dantian. This is the core of our strength and our energy, right? And then we've got the middle, our heart, and then our spirit up, up in the above in the crown. But yeah, just really getting in touch with that lower belly. This is the place where, science is now finding, the microcosm of the gut is just such an integral part of how we connect in with the earth and how we realize that we are taking in universal energy in a lot of ways that we're not even aware of. So I want you to just, as you're inhaling gently through the nose and exhaling out the mouth, feel the earth rising to meet you and feel the sky opening above you. You are the bridge between heaven and earth. And we are welcoming in the spring equinox energy, which, like I said, it's a 0 point of balance and rebirth and infinite possibility. And as we move through this Qigong, may our bodies and our minds and our spirits attune to the frequencies of harmony, of that Aries courage and expansion. And because spring is seasonally in Chinese medicine is wood energy, we're going to just do a little work on our liver meridian because our liver meridian houses the hun, which is part of our soul, is housed in the liver according to Chinese medicine. And so this can be in the spring, especially wood. Think of like new growth, right? And it can be, really activating, and our liver wants us to take charge, and it's here to cleanse ourselves and imagine and hope, for the new growth of spring. But when our liver is stagnant, it can create anger and frustration, and like we can feel very reactive, like we're quick to jump to conclusions and things. So we want to keep it flowing, want to keep those meridian points flowing. And so I want you to just take your hands and, just kind of warm them up, just feel that friction and that heat because our hands are very powerful. They contain all kinds of chakra points where we receive so much energy through our hands and our feet. Think about it. So just spend a little moment, again, getting quiet, kind of feeling that energy between your hands. And then we're going to just do some tapping along that liver and gallbladder meridian. So I want you to just might feel a little weird, but I want you to just go along the outsides of your legs and just tap and go all the way down to your ankles and then move to the insides of your legs and just tap. And you're just waking up those liver and gallbladder meridians. We're going to do it one more time. And this is so good if you feel like you've got frustration, anger, anything, any emotions in your body. You just tap sometimes. And it just kind of clears out the stagnant. I always like to go back where my kidneys are. That's where all of our life force energy is. So just wake that up while you're at it. Sometimes you can go and just take your hands and, again, just create some heat, get your energy stimulated and moving. And you can already tell, I bet you guys could say like, oh, wow, I do. I feel a little bit more alert and, alive, and I'm gonna be okay kind of thing. So next, we're just going to warm up the body, and we're going to just do, it's called spinal twist, but we're just doing a gentle detox. And I just want you to start moving side to side, kind of letting your arms get loose and flowy. And then I want you to start just tapping on either side with your arms. You want to keep it real loose, real relaxed. But you notice we're tapping on the kidney and we're tapping on the liver point. And we're just, think of it, we're wringing out with each twist what no longer serves us. And you're letting go of old patterns, limiting beliefs, and any fear-based stories that no longer work for you. And remember, spring is a time of purification. So think about what are you ready to leave behind? Let's just leave it behind today, right here all together. We'll do 3 more times. And then slowly just go back to swinging. And then slowly just come to a still point. And now I want you to just take a gathering breath, just kind of dropping your hands down, connecting them in with the earth, and just bringing in the new wood energy of spring, right? And bringing your hands all the way over your head and connecting in with the heavens or whatever new, fresh creator, light energy you want to bring in. And just drop that down into your energy field and bring that into that lower dantian point and receive. Our power is in our receptivity, because that's how we get present and that's how we get fully in our body. And then we can discern, like Rhonda said, and we can move forward with point, with purpose, with intention. And so then we'll just do this simple exercise, and it's called spreading your wings, opening up to, possibilities. But it's just kind of like that gathering breath, connecting with the earth, and just holding at this, I got to get even myself, holding at this 0 point, the equinox, right, of the balance between heaven and earth. And you can feel the earth below you and, below your arms, and you can feel, the heaven, the new energy above you. And then I want you on the inhale to lift the arms like we just did. And now on the exhale, we're going to do some of that beautiful Teresa Reiki. We're going to bring that energy into our heart. And just pause and receive. And then I want us to just repeat this again slowly. And the slower you can do this, the better. I mean, till you can't get any slower, because this is forcing you to slow down and to become more aware of yourself and the energy around you and the energy that is moving through you. And then bring that in and breathe in new light, breathe in courage and love, universal support. Let it go, and then drop down and bring your arms up. You're safe to expand. You're safe to dream. And just let your heart lead. I like to bring it on this next one, when we drop our hands down, do it one more time. And just opening up to receive. And I want you to bring your left hand over your right on your heart. And what this does is it brings in forgiveness. This is the left side is our feminine, the right side is our masculine. And so we're wrapping ourselves in that divine mother energy, and just really just pause. Because I think we forgive other people, and it's really hard, and we don't really think about it a lot of times, about forgiving ourselves. And even just forgiving ourselves for all of the trauma that we've been through, and, questioning why me and why this. But just like Teresa said, this can just make all the difference when you pause and you do these intentional, movements to integrate flow, right, on a energetic level. And now I just want to do one more. And this is just, we're going to take our hands. Well, first, let's go ahead And again, just kind of connect your hands, connect the energy. You can just imagine a ball of light in between your hands. It's okay if you don't feel the energy, just imagine that light. And then point your hands at that lower dantian. And again, imagine a ball of light that you're holding. And you can feel it, the core of your being. You can feel it extending from the core of your being out to your hands. And now I want you to take your hands and I want you to turn them like in front of your belly. I want you to turn them towards you. And I want you to rotate to the left. And again, this is a feminine movement. This is a clearing movement. This is directed back to you on an energetic level. And so you're just doing circles as you're releasing and you're letting go. And this is the spiral is the sacred geometry of creation. And so we're in these retrograde periods, like Rhonda said, this is giving you time to erase things that you maybe wish hadn't happened, or you're having a hard time, you clinging to the memory, whatever it is, letting go of the old. And then I want you to come to that pause and connect in with the earth. Just drop your hands down to the earth. And then now I want you to face your hands outward. And we're going to turn to the right. And now this is masculine Aries energy. So this is creation energy. So your hands are powerful portals. So as you're moving in these spirals, imagine energy flowing from the core of the earth and meeting the galactic light that's streaming in from above. And you are the vessel and the portal and the 0 point between dimensions. And just let your field harmonize with that cosmic energy. And let your body remember its blueprint and call in, maybe do an I am statement while you're doing this of what you want to calibrate with. I am free from the burdens of my mind. That's what I'm going to say. You say whatever you want and just feel your hands receiving and your body and your energy field receiving, and feel gratitude, because that's really how you ground in new energy. It's through thanking it for already occurring, like it's already here. I already feel lighter. I already feel freer. And then go ahead and bring your hands down. And we'll do a gathering breath just to seal in the energy and the new frequency that we've calibrated our field to. Bring your hands up. And I always like to think of like a little snow globe that you turned upside down and all these beautiful flecks of golden iridescent light, just bringing that into your field. And this time I want you to place the right hand on top of the left as you place that on your dantian, purposely anchoring that in. And you can picture that energy ball just becoming a beautiful iridescent white pearl of light, just right 2 inches maybe below your belly button in the center of your being. Deep, 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 knowing and trusting that you've purified that pearl of energy and you now hold it within you. So if there is a time that you need that, like Teresa said last night when she started to spin out, you've got that within you, and you can start being discerning and sovereign and pulling that in from within instead of having to pull it in from without and, trying to watch the news or, all the things that we all are guilty of, looking to outward resources for our guidance and our answers instead of knowing and trusting that it's all right here, right where we need to go.
Woo, that was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah. I feel a strong pillar of spring. I don't know how
That's
to describe
good.
it. It's beautiful.
I love that you can actually feel, the pillar of light now because you're anchored, you're tethered. Yeah, you're not getting flapped around in the breeze,
Yeah.
grounded. Well, thank you for letting me go over a little bit so I could get it all in. And I couldn't have said it better, Nancy. We all needed that because I feel like $1,000,000. I feel so like awake and ready to go, like Teresa said. So do you all have anything that you want to add to close us out, or do you want me to close us out? Are you muted, Rhonda?
Rhonda,
Yeah, I'm muted. I always mute because there's always noise in the background here. Melinda says too, it was beyond amazing for her, all the visuals and doctors.
Oh, share the visuals, Melinda. Yeah, that's the thing with the biofeedback. Dr. Steinle is a master. I love you, Jen. I'll pay you later. But yeah, that's the thing. When you start to like relax and receive, it's not just hearing the frequencies. You know, a lot of my clients will get these beautiful visuals. You know, your ESP starts to open up, right? And you know, your extrasensory perception starts to come online. And I'll tell you a little trick. Galactic center, when you think of like the black hole that's the very center of our entire universe, it is always like the way that, you know, everything rotates. There's a point in the day, thank you, Rhonda, where it's directly overhead. And research has found that when galactic center is directly overhead, our extrasensory ability increases by 400%. So for most of us, like I'm in Washington State, it's right about the time of sunrise. Like for me, it's like, you know, I think it's like 2 a.m. to like 5 a.m. But take advantage, like Sarah was asking, you know, how do I get more in touch with my intuition? If you're not quite sure, those would be great times to like, yeah, sit in stillness or do some journaling and connect and ask for guidance and look to, you know, your spirit teams. Because I can tell you just from, like I said, my son now being on the other side, and we keep in touch every day, every moment, you know, like you can call in and you all have guardian angels. You all have a team in spirit that is there helping you, just waiting to connect with you. And then just look for the signs. They're all there. You just have to have awareness and stillness and presence, or you're too scattered and you don't see them, you know?
For sure. Or you just, yeah, you're not paying attention.
You're not paying attention. Well said.
Because you're in here instead of out there.
Yes.
Mindfulness. It's all about mindfulness, right? Thank you so much, Katie, for being on. So tell us where we can find you again and how everyone can get in touch.
Yeah, thanks. Rhonda put up my website, katiesteinle.com. I would love to have you all join us on Patreon. There's 3 different tiers that you can join. And if you really want to up level in this year that is a game-changing, life-changing year, join us. We're going to Scotland on the most amazing, Rhonda's coming too, and Jen that is tuning in. So we've got this incredible life-altering itinerary for a quantum well-being retreat at first week in October. So that information is on my website, or you can reach out to myself or Rhonda and we will fill you in. But it's affordable. I mean, we're in this, you know, together. We really are all going to activate and ascend, and it's going to be magical. Scotland, fun fact, I didn't know this, but apparently it is in the world, it has the most, what do you call them now? Extra dimensional?
yeah.
Aliens, I don't know. What do you call them, Rhonda? What's the technical word?
UFOs still.
UFOs.
I'm not in the That's
It's
sort of the bait and switch.
Of the world, Scotland.
Ain't that
I mean,
neat?
it's so magical. Scotland and Ireland are like untouched, you know, like I can't wait.
I know. So exciting.
Yeah, my DNA comes from there. So say hi to everybody when you guys are there.
Mine too, Teresa.
You
Mine too.
Bye,
Lots of DNA from there. Yeah.
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 Yep. Me three. That's why. Yeah. I
think, Brian. Yeah. I guess we can get that one
right there. Yeah. No, there's something magical. That's why the Irish, they still believe they believe in leprechauns. They believe in, you know, the energy of nature and all of it. So Thank you, Melinda. Yeah, Melinda went on a retreat with us. That's how we met. Rhonda and member Melinda and I, we all went to Mount Shasta together. When we travel, magic happens. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Melinda and I are soul sisters forever because of that.
We are so exciting, and it's exciting this whole time of year. Is I know everybody wants the doom and the gloom, but there's so much excitement, and I think that's what they're trying to suppress is our excitement and our joy. So because then if we're under that dome of doom and gloom, they can control us. But when we're joyful in our joyful selves, nobody can control us.
Yes.
We are our sovereign beings, as you said before. We are sovereign, and you know, you only keep the minions down when they're you know, squished down between the plates. Otherwise, we could rise.
Yeah, so. And the Band-Aid is coming off. Like it just is. So let's do this together, people.
Yeah. Yeah, be on fire. Thank you so much. Thank you, Teresa. Next week we're here with Denise Carpenter, who is a Reiki master teacher, and she's from our area, but she's gone to Japan last summer, and she wants to tell us about the difference between East Reiki and Western Reiki and how the divergence and what the similarities are. Of course, it's universal energy. We're all channeling, but there are differences. And she went to Mount Kuriyama and went up on a retreat with her Reiki master in Japan. And I just can't wait to hear about the whole journey. And it's so exciting. So we'll be here with Denise, and yeah, it'll be exciting to listen to that. And then the week after that, we have meditations and messages. Not sure if Katie will be able to join us yet or not, but that would be for April, talking about Aries birthdays and the messages for the month ahead. So yeah, those Aries birthdays.
Happy birthday, Rhonda.
Yeah. So thanks again. And Teresa, thank you so much. And we'll chat later. Stay with us up to the end of the show. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Yep.